No installer, no launcher, no 40 gigabyte download. A link, and moments later, a world. That's been the pitch from the first document this project ever wrote. Free to visit, forever, and it plays in a browser. It's a sentence that's easy to write and expensive to mean. The friction usually hides in the installer, the launcher, and the download. This is the episode where we tried to make that sentence literally true, and found out the browser wouldn't allow it. Either the world loads in a plain browser tab and you can walk around it, or it doesn't. That's the kind of thing you can't fake in a montage. So this episode shows the whole run, the attempt, the failure, and the fix. We run formal go, no-go gates here, questions so load-bearing that a no forces the whole plan to be redrawn from scratch. 2 of them stood in front of this project's first phase of engineering, proofs that had to clear before the milestone behind them was even worth attempting. The character pipeline was one, and it passed. This is the other, and it's blunter. Does the terrain engine actually work inside a browser? The stakes are the whole plan. Darkerlight's entire way of reaching players is that trying the game costs nothing. Not money, not a download, not an installer your friends won't bother with. Click a link, walk around a real world, decide if you care. If the world can't render in a browser, that story is gone, and the plan goes with it. The terrain engine in question is a respected open source add-on, the community's standard answer for large worlds in this engine. It's powerful and proven on desktop, but its browser story was another matter. The documentation is quiet, and nobody could say with confidence that it worked. Which, for a gate, is exactly the point. You don't build a world on a guess. One rule we hold to: we generate the test world from code, never by hand, so it rebuilds identically every time, and the scene under test is the real thing, rather than a mock-up. So a script builds the entire world from nothing, every time it runs. A wide stretch of terrain, real hills, a deep valley, and standing stones ringing a clearing, all of it wearing the meadow palette from the Style Bible, the golden hour sun, the distance haze, and the tune shader and ink outlines that mark everything in Darkerlight. And the script checks itself before any test is allowed to mean anything. It asserts the terrain regions saved, the heights landed in range, the props exist. Only then does a passing test count for something. On a desktop, the verdict was immediate. Smooth enough that the frame rate was capped by the monitor, not the engine, and it looks the way the game intends to look. But desktop was never the question. First run in the browser, the terrain didn't draw. Stones hanging over empty space, casting shadows on a world that wasn't there, something the browser wouldn't allow. One line in the console explained it, in the way error messages explain things. The terrain's shader, the small program that paints the ground on the graphics card, exceeds a limit called the uniform block size. In plain terms, the shader ships the card a table of data describing where every terrain region lives. This engine's table is built for enormous worlds, 1,000 regions, and it's large. Desktop graphics drivers allow far more than it needs, so nobody ever notices. Browsers guarantee exactly 16,384 bytes. The table is bigger than that. So it's not a bug in the add-on, it's a spec collision. The add-on works everywhere except them. One place this project promised to live, and the quiet part. The limit itself is published. It's the collision we couldn't find written down anywhere we looked, which is its own signal about how few worlds this size have been asked to run in a browser tab. A published browser limit nobody had run this add-on into, no obvious fix, sitting in the exact spot the whole promise lives. So the question is blunt: can it be cleared inside the one limit that matters, the browser's own, without giving up the browser? Here's the insight the fix turns on. That 1,000 region table is sent to the graphics card as changeable data, because in the editor, terrain regions come and go as a designer paints a world by hand. But Darkerlight's world isn't painted at runtime. It's generated ahead of time. Then it just is. The table never changes after the world is exported. And data that never changes doesn't have to ride in that tight browser budget at all. It can be baked directly into the shader's own code, compiled in as fixed constants, costing effectively nothing. So we taught the pipeline to do exactly that in 3 scripted steps. We pull the exact shader the engine generates, along with the exact region data it uploads. We rewrite the 2 oversized tables as compiled-in constants, and we hand the result back through the add-on's own official override slot, a supported feature and no fork of anyone's code. The data budget drops by roughly 10 to 1, and because it's a script rather than a hand patch, regenerating it whenever the world layout changes is one repeatable step in the world export, not a fix anyone has to rederive. 2 honest limits on it, since this series doesn't ship a fix without them. It isn't free of upkeep. We're rewriting a shader the add-on generates, so an upstream change to that shader is a change we have to notice, which is why the script checks its own assumptions and fails loudly, rather than quietly producing something wrong. And it has a ceiling. The baked table only holds so many regions, and a world past that size needs the lookup moved into a texture instead. That's known bounded work, not another wall, and it isn't due yet. One more thing we owe, and saying it here is how it gets kept. This project didn't find that wall because we're clever. We found it because we walked into it, and the tool we walked into it with was given away for free by people who didn't have to. So the write-up and the working override go back to them. The collision, the reproduction, and the fix that cleared it. Because a limit nobody had documented is worth more to the next person than it is to us. One honest trade got made. Baking the region table freezes the world layout at export time. For a world that's generated offline and streamed read-only, this game, that costs nothing. The one thing it rules out, editing terrain live inside a browser session, was never on the menu. Same browser, same scene, and a couple of seconds from link to world. On a test world this size, terrain and props, no players or monsters in it yet, it runs as fast as the screen can show it, in an ordinary browser tab on a modest video memory footprint. And frame for frame, the browser render matches the desktop one. We verified the verdict the way we verify everything here. We wired the scene into a test that has to pass, then watched it again through the real browser. The run captured its screenshots, they were checked side by side against the desktop reference, and the numbers were written down so the next run has something to be measured against. The browser gate cleared. Both go, no-go proofs guarding this phase's engineering plan are now cleared. What's left is the milestone itself, the thing those proofs were protecting. Caveats, on the record, because a gate you only report when it passes isn't a gate. Only one browser is proven so far, on one fast machine, and on a test world that is a fraction of the size of a real zone. A bigger world means more terrain data and more draw calls, and that's a different measurement. A modest laptop and a slow connection are a different test again, and neither has been run yet. At that point, Safari and Firefox were still unrun. A harness that puts this exact scene through both was a receipt we didn't have yet. That receipt comes later in this series, and you'll see it the same way you saw this one, pass or fail. The wall was actually cleared, and the proof of the rest is a thing this series owes you, not a thing it's asking you to assume. There's a version of this episode where the terrain engine just worked, and it would have been 30 seconds long and told you nothing. The wall is what made it worth filming. A published browser limit this add-on had never been run into, in the exact place the promise lives, cleared with a repeatable script, one step every time this project exports a world. The world exists, it runs in a tab. Next time, putting two people in it together.